Let's get connected.
Neighborhood Connect.
Paul Young here with Joyce Cox. We'd like to thank you all for listening to Neighborhood Connect. Vice President of Client and External Relations for Universal Commercial.
Proud to be a part of this podcast.
Neighborhood Connect.
You always get enlightened, inspired, and then, there's no more inspiring and enlightening place than Memphis, Tennessee.
Neighborhood Connect.
Welcome back to Neighborhood Connect. We're here in Raleigh. This is your host, Paul Young, and I'm here with my fabulous guest host, Miss Joyce Cox.
I like that. Welcome.
Glad to be here in Raleigh. So, exciting project going on in Raleigh right now. That
Yes.
If you've driven down Austin P, you've probably seen it. If not, you must not be looking where you're going because it's right in front of you. And that's the Raleigh Springs Town Center. Which is coming soon. And so we have the project manager, Mary Claire Boris, who happens to work with Housing and Community Development. Welcome, Mary Claire.
Thank you.
And we also have from the library, the Northeast Regional Manager, Gay Kane, and she's joined by Courtney Shaw, who's a librarian with the Raleigh branch. So welcome. Thank you all for joining us today. So, Mary Claire, why don't you start us off and give us, what are we doing at Raleigh Springs? What's happening? How long is it going to take? And are we going to meet the goals that we set forth?
All right. So everyone remembers Raleigh Springs Mall.
Yes.
I personally learned to drive in the parking lot back in the day. And I think, as everyone will recall, the mall started to fall into disrepair and storefronts were vacant as people's shopping habits changed. People wanted to shop further east. People started shopping online. And so the mall kind of fell casualty to that. And so the city started looking at the mall really as early as, it was about 7 years ago. We started looking at it and thinking about acquiring the mall. And we started looking at it, thinking about acquiring the mall and trying to do something transformational. And we spent several years working with the community, had a lot of public meetings, a lot of discussion about what the community wanted to see in the site. We looked at a lot of different options. And in the end, what we decided to do was to acquire the mall, which took a long time. Demolish the mall, which went pretty fast, and on which we had a 50% minority and women-owned business hiring goal, and we met that, so that was great. And now what we are doing is building the new Raleigh Springs Town Center. And that's going to start off with 2 featured buildings. There's going to be a new building for the Memphis Police Department. It's going to house the police precinct, which is currently located on Old Allen Road. And it's going to house the traffic division, which is currently housed on Union Avenue in Midtown. And so it's going to be a great new facility for them. We're also going to have a new branch library for Raleigh. And I'll let them talk about that in a minute. And the site's also going to feature an 11-acre lake with a walking trail around it. So for those folks who miss walking in the mall, you can now walk around the lake. And the entire site's going to have city-provided Wi-Fi. So you can actually listen to your podcasts while you're walking along the lake, including, of course, your favorite podcast, Neighborhood Connect.
That is so true. Thank you. How can the community use that space other than the walking trails? Or, because I thought that at one time we had talked about a skate park.
There is a skate park going in on the edge of the lake. Mm-hmm. This skate park is being designed by Zach Wormhout, who is the #1 top premier designer of skate parks. He has been flying back and forth from California. In fact, they're pretty much finished with construction, but not yet. So skaters, I'm sorry, you cannot start hopping the construction fence and skating in it just yet. We still have some work to do. But we're getting close, and we're very excited about that. It's going to be great. Zach also did the skate park that's in Avery Park. So the Memphis skating community knows his work very well and loves it. And so this is actually going to be like twice the size and even better than what's in Avery Park.
And so what's the completion timeline?
So we will be completed before the end of this year. As folks know, this has been probably like the wettest winter Memphis has had in many a decade. So that's thrown us a bit behind. But we will finish the site before the end of this year.
End of 2019. Mm-hmm. And so library team, so Courtney, Gay, what does this mean for the libraries to have a new facility here at Raleigh Springs Town Center? Well,
Raleigh definitely deserves a new library. The one that we have now is excellent, of course, our branch location on Powers. It's 10,000 square feet, and the conditions a little poor, but we still manage in that facility to serve over 100,000 people a year and provide over 700 programs. So imagine what we can do in an expanded space in our new location, which will be 50% larger than the current location.
One of the things that's been a hit from the library perspective that I hear about often is what you have over at Benjamin Hook Center. And the name is escaping
Cloud
me.
901.
Cloud 901. Yes, I don't
right.
Don't tell Keenan to mess that up. So are there any activities that kind of mimic what happens there that could happen in this space?
Well, actually, we used the Cloud 901 concept and answered the public's request for bringing that out into branches. Of course, it's going to be on a smaller scale, right. And this location will have a family learning lab, so it will not only be limited to teens, which Cloud 901 is at Central. It's just for teens. This family learning lab will be for all ages, and we'll be able to incorporate technology, use it as a maker space, so we can provide various activities, hands-on STEM learning for all ages. So we're really looking forward to providing that in our branch rather than just at Central. So,
Courtney, I know you're at the Raleigh Library now. What excites you and your team about this new space that you will be moving to towards the end of the year?
Well, all of us are very excited to have the new building. I am specifically a children's librarian, so I'm definitely looking forward to the Family Center and continuing a lot of the programs that we have now for the families and the teens and adults as well at the new location.
I think one of the things that's going to be so cool about this new library location is it has been designed much more in the mode of Benjamin Hook's library. So it is, lots of glass, lots of open space, nice comfy furniture. And so it's going to feel very warm and inviting and open. And, with our libraries, we're moving to a lot of, not just books, but checking out books on reading devices as well, and all of those things. And even our librarians are going to be out working amongst folks rather than, there's not going to be like lots of office space. They're actually going to have floating offices in the facility.
We have not built a branch library in a while, and things in libraries have changed drastically. So I think the community will be surprised at the difference in this location. Rather than one large service desk, we will have just sort of a mobile service point and librarians roaming around. We're going to utilize a lot more mobile technology, and even in our furnishings, things will be flexible. We'll be able to move just about everything around and create spaces for performances and programs. Libraries are becoming more of a community hub, a place for activity and gathering, and we really want to use this new space for that.
And we've even designed a whole community space on the second floor that will actually have a separate entrance, so there can be meetings after hours, like community meetings. And so that will be a great space, and it'll also connect to a balcony, which will overlook the lake.
The second floor actually has it's a cafe area, and we're looking into how we're going to manage that space, but it will be equipped with commercial kitchen equipment. And currently at Raleigh, we're doing a little bit of a community garden, and we're incorporating that into cooking programs for the public. So we're hoping in our new facility with our commercial kitchen area upstairs, we will be able to do even more cooking programs, more nutrition, healthy eating.
And you're going to have a much bigger garden, too.
Yes, and there'll be hopefully room on the grounds for our garden because there's lots of space out there. So
it's a 60-acre site. We'll fit it in.
So where's your garden located now?
Right now, it is in the corner of the parking lot. If you go to the entrance off of Powers, if you look straight back, there's a little bitty corner in the parking lot along the fence line where the townhomes are. Yeah. And it says Raleigh Community Garden, and they've grown lots of different kinds of vegetables, and they have I think it's every Thursday. Courtney, do you know if that's correct?
Actually, it's normally on the first and third Saturday, and that's from 10:30 to 11:30 a.m.
I was in a meeting once with some of the library staff, and they were talking about all these amazing things that they do. And so we kind of wanted to partner with them to put the word out. You know, what are you doing in the library? So that's good to know that there is a community garden, and it's going to be even bigger and better when you move. So what are some other programs that you guys offer? We can tell that now. You know, we talk about it now, and when we spread the word, we're going to make it bigger and better at the new facility.
Well, right now, Courtney is fairly new at the Raleigh Library, and she is taking over the
Family Learning Lab.
Yeah, and we have activities for children. Courtney has invited area schools in to do story times. The adult services team works on job search, help labs, keyboard skills, basic computer skills. There's a wealth of various programs going on there to support job and career development, early literacy, lots of STEM programming for teens and children.
Yeah, there are, and I'd like to just add a few more. But every Monday we have a science club, and that is from 4 to 5. And we do a lot of fun and exciting programs with the children, but we'd like to make sure it's aligning with what they're doing in school. That way it overlaps, and that it helps them in school to make sure they're understanding what they're being taught. And of course, Family Fun Hour, that's also every Monday from 6 to 7 p.m. And that just allows a space for the families to come in together and create wonderful memories together at the library. And they bond by doing stories, playing games, card games, board games. And some parents like to help out and show crafts and activities that they are familiar with. And that's always awesome to have the parents to come in and help us out.
Well, my son is 20, he'll be 25, and I just learned about Sid the Science Kid.
You are listening to Neighborhood Connect. We are here in Raleigh at Refuge, and we're talking about the Raleigh Springs Town Center. So, Mary Claire, I'm going to ask you a question that I often get when I go out in the community and this project comes up. We are talking about spaces that will be occupied by government. So whether it's a library, police station, how does this truly benefit the community? Where does the community get a win from this type of redevelopment project?
So the first thing we've done, of course, is to eliminate a source of blight in the neighborhood, which is a big starting step. And, of course, we're taking both of these existing services, the library and the Memphis Police Department, making them more accessible in their current homes. They're a little harder to find. You're not going to be able to miss them where they are now on Austin P in these big, new, beautiful buildings, and giving them the space and the resources that they need to better serve the public. Of course, we've got this wonderful public space with the lake and the walking trail. The lake's going to have fountains. That we've got this skate park. There's going to be some green space for people to enjoy. You can come and have a picnic by the side of the lake on a Saturday afternoon if you want to. And one of the things that's really great about the lake is it's actually addressing stormwater flooding. So I remember back in 2011, and then, of course, when we have these horrible rainstorms, we get some flooding in this area. And before, you had the mall site is a 60-acre site. So you had 60 acres of concrete draining into the city's stormwater system. And that caused backflows into surrounding neighborhoods and flooding. Now, the site has been graded so that all of the water on the site now runs into this lake and doesn't go into the city's stormwater system, which therefore leaves more capacity for the surrounding neighborhoods. It's also even going to take some of the flooding off of the adjacent streets because it's been graded so that will also flow into the site. So it's going to make a big difference every time we have one of these bad rainstorms for the neighborhood.
One of the things that I also talk about when we talk about this project is the fact that, it's a national story in terms of trying to figure out how to deal with a vacant or underutilized 1950s, 60s shopping malls.
Yeah, 1960s.
Yeah, 1960s. So every city in the country has some version of this, and they're trying to figure out what do we do with this. And so I think it is kudos to the city and for the community to rally together to come up with some ways to utilize it. Other point that I thought you were also going to make is the RFP for
I would love to talk
acres.
about that.
So, why don't you tell us about
because this is such a big site, we're going to have some, after we put in all of our government facilities and our family recreation spaces, we're going to have a whole bunch of land still left over on the site. So we've got about 22 acres that'll be left on the site, on the northern part of the site along Yale Road. And the city also owns a piece of property kind of catty-corner to there, at the intersection of Austin P and Yale, where some long-term residents will remember that the Cecil's grocery store used to be there. So the city has these two sites, and they're for sale, and we're going to be marketing them heavily. We are looking for a developer to partner with the city and do some private development. We've heard from the community a great desire to have things like senior housing, restaurants that's not fast food, something nice that you can come and sit down and have a family meal together. And there's also a need for office space in Raleigh. There's not a lot of small office space that's for rent. Everybody kind of has to build their own little building on an out parcel in front of some big box store. And so this would be a nice alternative to that. But, we're really going to be working with the market to see what makes the most sense.
We have a couple of people that are here in the audience. I don't know if anybody else has any questions on anything related to Raleigh Springs Town Center. Is there anything that you haven't shared, whether it's from the library's perspective or Mary Claire, that you want to share? Or does anybody have any questions?
I just want to say that we've spent a long time designing this site, and we're excited to group government facilities together and create kind of a central node for the Raleigh community. It's very much in keeping with the Memphis 3.0 concept of having neighborhood anchors. I think this is going to be a great anchoring spot for Raleigh. It always has been. I mean, the mall kind of was the center, and now it still will. And the city has a little room left to expand if we want to add some additional buildings or services there. And these buildings are going to be beautiful. I mean, I really just cannot stress enough. I think we've got some renderings on the HCD website, and so you really should take a look at them. The police building is inspired by kind of a modern twist on like kind of 1920s old-fashioned police precincts. It's even we took some inspiration from the old police headquarters downtown. It's got nice, it's going to have beautiful bands of black and gray brick and these nice old-fashioned giant globe light fixtures. But it's also going to have this front lobby that's like 30-foot ceiling glassed-in lobby that you can come into. And they're going to have a lot of community stuff there, like the PSTs. Neighborhood Watch Commander is going to have an office right off the lobby, so you can come right on in and talk to them about neighborhood watch issues. And the library is also, I mean, it's like I said, it's glass. It's got a curved front. Who built the library with a curved front? And we've got these giant fountains that are going to go in the lakes, and one big one that's going to go in the mid. We're going to have kind of a roundabout at the end of the road when you come in off Austin P. And it's really just going to be the most beautiful site, and we're hoping it's a spark that lights the transformation all up and down Austin P.
I didn't grow up in Raleigh, but I used to frequent the mall But I wanted to inform our listeners that in order to see this vision, you can go to memphishcd.org as well as the City of Memphis, what is our website?
MemphisTN.gov.
Yes.
Kyle Veazey would not like that.
No, he would not. I'm so sorry, Kyle.
So I think we do have one question.
Sure. When is the completion date for these beautiful government buildings that we want to get involved with the people there?
Right. So we're hoping to have construction completed in late fall, early winter, so kind of the end of 2019. And then it'll take a couple of months for everybody to get moved in and situated and really get the buildings up and running.
You guys mentioned a skate park. Is that 24 hours, or is it by invitation only, or is it just...
Yeah, no, it's definitely open to the public. It has its own little dedicated parking area. It's, like I said, it'll be connected to the free Wi-Fi system. It will have lights for skating after it turns dark. Of course, now I would remind the skating community that this is right next to the police precinct. So you'll want to behave accordingly. But yes, it is designed to be open, maybe not 24 hours a day, but definitely extended hours.
Well, this has been great being here in Raleigh, talking about the assets in this community, assets that already exist and those that are to come. Thank you to our library team for coming to join us today. Thank you, Mary Claire. It's been awesome having this dialogue, and look forward to the future. I think the future in Raleigh is very, very bright.
It's bright. Yes, it is.
Thanks for joining us. You have been listening to Neighborhood Connect. I'm your host, Paul Young.
And I'm Joyce Cox. It has been a pleasure, and it has definitely been the bomb diggity.
Neighborhood Connect, produced and hosted by Paul Young and Joyce Cox with the City of Memphis Housing Community Development. Neighborhood Connect, produced, recorded, and distributed by Kudzukian.
Let's get connected.
Neighborhood Connect.
A renowned author, Mr. Preston Lauterbach.
Welcome.
Thank you. I never get tired of the word renowned. That works.
You are certainly renowned on some of the things that have happened in this community, and so we're glad to have you on the show today.
Well, it's a healthy addiction, I think.
Neighborhood Connect.
Neighborhood Connect.
Here at Kudzukian.
Best in Blue.
We go into the schools and we educate the kids on the different things that the police department can do. Those 10 officers have about 5 to 10 schools each. Make sure that the students have everything they need.
On the Kudzukian Network.
R&R on Sports is proud to be on Sirius XM.
So what's R&R stand for?
Real talk and relevant sports issues.
It's racial and relative. We're brothers from the South. We can relate.
R&R has meaningful multiplicity.
Listen to you, all polysyllabic and alliterative.
R&R is Larry Robinson and Howard Robertson conversing,
challenging, and always chuckling.
R&R on Sports, part of the Kudzukian Network.
Kudzukian.
Riffin' on Jazz.
Riffin' on Jazz is your weekly visit with friends talking about the music that we love.
That classic African-American art form called jazz.
I am Howard Robertson.
And I'm Alvin Massey from WUMR.
Riffin' on Jazz on the Kudzukian Network.
Kudzukian.
Welcome to Kudzukian. We create engaging, thought-provoking radio on-demand programming that fosters a greater sense of community by increasing awareness and understanding about topics that impact our lives. Kudzukian produces a range of programs that appeal to a broad audience. Best in Blue offers a unique view into what the Memphis Police Force is doing to protect and serve the community.
Sometimes some of us are walking down the street or driving down the street and we think we're profiled. But can you tell us give us a little insight onto how that actually comes across to you all as officers in cars and so forth?
And I'm just going to give you an example. It may say, 8636, please be on the lookout for a robbery suspect. He's male black, wearing white T-shirt and blue jeans. Believe it or not, everybody you see from that point
There's a white T-shirt and blue jeans at that time.
Exactly. So
Wow.
we have to stop them because we're looking for a robbery system.
Funky Politics presents perspectives on issues surrounding politics and societal values in the U.S. in a cool and somewhat irreverent way.
Every major city in America right now is experiencing an uptick in murders and in crime overall. It's not because of just kids that are in school or not in school. It's the community's issue. I would think that the community, either private small business in the community, the churches that are in the community, civic organizations, and the school could form an effective partnership in order to save the school. Because after all, they all share the mutual interest of the community being safe and productive.
R&R on Sports looks at the sports scene from the perspective of dedicated sports fans and holds eye conversations with leaders in the sports industry.
Ed Too Tall Jones, formerly of the Dallas Cowboys. Welcome to R&R on Sports.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I grew up in Jackson, Tennessee on a farm. I decided I was going to University of Arizona, who had a great baseball program.
What position in baseball did you play?
I played first base.
Okay.
I only weighed 211 pounds at the time.
Okay.
And I was 6'7" and had a rifle arm.
So not only were you too tall, but you was too skinny, too.
There you go. There you go.
Riffin' on Jazz explores the multifaceted aspects of jazz and its influence on music. Riffin' on Jazz.
I think I know a lot about jazz.
It's only what you've been doing the last 30-some years.
Yeah, I know.
A voice that can make you laugh and make you cry.
Good jazz, you don't have to worry about what they're talking about. But when they pick up those instruments, we all speak the same language. And don't you know you went in the kitchen and come back with a big bowl of salad?
Artivism shares how creativity has been used to challenge and transform long-standing ideas about equality, about equity, diversity, and inclusion.
International artist Tobacco Brown, and we've been talking about her background in landscape art and how she came to be an artist.
I think the piece at Douglas is very, very interesting for me, and it tells the story of Eleanor Roosevelt's visit to Memphis, Tennessee during the Great Depression. These students grew food in the Douglas, what is now Douglas Park. And with this food, they canned 100,000 cans of food for the community and 50,000 cans of food for the school, thus saving their lives during the Great Depression.
Neighborhood Connect tells about the vibrant communities and neighborhoods of Memphis, Tennessee.
A renowned author, Mr. Preston Lauterbach.
Thank you. I never get tired of the word renowned. That works.
You are certainly renowned around these parts. And so we're excited about all the work that you've done to promote Memphis history. You've educated a lot of us.
So it's a healthy addiction, I think. You know, you never get sick studying history. Right. You always learn something. You always get enlightened, inspired, and there's no more inspiring and enlightening place than Memphis, Tennessee.
Join the Kudzukian community. Visit Kudzukian.com and listen in on some of our dynamic broadcasts.